boys and girls. Today I want to tell you a story about the land of prepositions. Now, in this land, there were the villagers, the people of preposition, and they all lived amongst the trees in the forest, and they loved to just go out and see all the woodland animals. Now, these woodland animals were a little different than the little furry guys that we have here in our forests. Instead of having squirrels and chipmunks and birds that they could hear chirping, they had in-betweens that would scurry up the trees. And they had throos that would snake around in the grass. And they had pawns that would flutter and sing. And every morning they would come out and hear the pawns singing as the sun rose. These were the type of animals that they had in their forest. Now, the queen of the land of prepositions, she was beloved. And one day, as she was sitting in her castle, she received a message that in their neighboring kingdom, prepositional phrase had stolen all of their woodland animals. And so she called a council, and she chose all of her most wise and trusted advisors to come, and they were going to decide what to do to get all of their woodland creatures back. And so they sat there, and one of her advisors stood up and said, "We need to go to war. We need to show prepositional phrase and his kingdom that no matter what he does, we will always succeed. We will win. We need to show him our force." And the queen sat back and she thought, okay, that is an option. Does anyone else have any other ideas? And another advisor stood up and he said, "We need to show strategy. We need to just sneak in the middle of the night, show him prepositional phrase that we are smarter than he is, and just take our woodland creatures back. We need to out-strategize him." And the queen sat for a moment and thought, okay, but she didn't really like these ideas. They were pretty forceful. They were pretty brutal. She wanted to find another way. Well, a third advisor, she stood up, and she was their oldest and wisest advisor, and she said, "The way to truly resolve this issue is to make peace. We need to go to prepositional phrase, and we need to make a peace treaty." All the advisors sat back and they thought about that, and they thought that might be a good way to start. So the queen and a few of her soldiers and a few of her trusted advisors all rode under the white flag of truce, so that prepositional phrase knew that they were not coming to attack him, but to speak with him. They rode up to his gates, and he allowed them to enter into his palace. And as they came before him, he said, "What do you want? What do you think about what I have done?" And the queen came and said, "We wish to have our woodland creatures back." And he said, "Then you're going to have to take them from me." And she said, "I have another way. I would like us to make a peace treaty." And the king was so shocked. He thought for sure that the land of prepositions would come to war. He wanted to prove the strength of his army and that he could be the greater force. But he liked the idea of a peace treaty. He liked the idea of being able to have an ally against all the other enemies that he had made. "I agree," said prepositional phrase. "We do need a peace treaty. I need an ally. I need someone that I can trade with and that will support me when I need them to." So the queen of the land of prepositions invited prepositional phrase back to her palace, where they could meet with their advisors and come up with a peace treaty and negotiate their terms. And part of that peace treaty was that the woodland creatures, the little pawns and throos and in-betweens, could go wherever they wanted in the land of prepositions or in the land of prepositional phrase. And they would work together to build the most spectacular kingdom